Well, welcome to everyone. People are joining from, yeah, I think when we do the marketing internationally, so people are joining from different time zones here. So we can say good morning and good afternoon, maybe
Good
even
evening, I guess.
good evening too, right? Yeah. We're broadcasting from Berlin today, and Gareth is actually broadcasting from the iSquare office. And so let's see how that works, Gareth. If there's nobody coming to you and trying to interrupt you here, and
Yeah, I can see a few people walking past in a minute.
yeah, that's fine. They all signed our data sharing agreement, and otherwise this is webinar Zoom setup. So sadly, we cannot see you with video, but we can certainly interact with you through the F&A or Q&A section of this webinar. So I'll just give this a try, and maybe someone can also send a question here. Maybe you can send a question, Ben, so we all see it's working. We hear you very well, Gareth, and we don't hear any of the sound surrounding you. So don't be distracted and worry about us here. So wherever your microphone is, it does a good job.
Cool. I'll tell Chrissy to do a runner before she comes into camera. So.
She walk by. That would be nice. You could introduce some other people who are involved in this great project. But then my job is here not to talk, and my job is to introduce you, Gareth. And so it's my pleasure to introduce you for a webinar, especially in this important project for us. And you're Chief Strategy Officer and involved in the field, and of course with iSquare since the very beginning, and an expert in eye tracking. And I know it is also a personal topic for you, why we invested in this product, in the smartphone eye tracking. So we're looking forward to hear and learn from you why this is also of personal interest for you. And I would just hand over to you and mute myself and stay here with you.
Okay. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yes, that's fine.
Excellent. So yeah, thank you for the intro, Philip. I'm Gareth Tuck. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer. I'm the UK Director and I'm partner at iSquare, and I've been doing eye tracking research for now nearly 20 years, which is longer than I care to consider. Today, I'm going to try and explain everything I can about smartphone eye tracking, our newest development, and make sure that basically anything you want to know, we can get across to you. So I'll give you a bit of background information, give you some of the history of what we used to do with eye tracking and what we do now, explain why eye tracking is important, um, explain what we can achieve now with smartphone eye tracking that we couldn't do before, uh, and what we can test with smartphone eye tracking that wasn't possible and now is, and what's good to test with it, what's maybe not, what's the experience from the participants' point of view, how many participants we'd normally have, and then how long we should show the stimuli for, give you a bit of an idea of what the outputs are like, and then answer any questions you might have that I haven't answered here. So iSquare have been doing eye tracking for over 25 years. From the very start of our business, we're running eye tracking studies of all the different types that you could consider. So we used to have, I remember this eye tracker that was worn on top of a helmet, and you had a cycling helmet, and you pushed a trolley around, and there was a car battery in the trolley. Not the easiest participant experience. We had eye trackers from Tobii that sat in front of the computer and tracked what people were looking at on the screen. We have had, you name it, we've had every single different type of eye tracker. We even developed our own eye tracking software over 20 years ago that's used by enterprises all around the world to track gaze on I guess you call it an enterprise level, and bring it all together. So eye tracking in the past was done in the lab, as I said, or in a central location. You brought the people to yourself, or in some occasions you went out to their home. And this meant that Not everybody was that willing to take part. Not everybody's got time to come to the lab and participate. And it also made some research questions not possible to add eye tracking to because the costs of running eye tracking in a lab are relatively high. So about 10 years ago, iSquare developed a solution for webcam eye tracking, which simply involves using the participant's webcam within a survey and tracking their gaze as they are taking part in something, as we show them some stimuli. Super useful, but as now everyone's using their smartphones to take part in surveys or just generally using their smartphones all the time, we needed a solution that could track their gaze as they were using their smartphones, just using their selfie camera, and that we could plug in really simply into a survey and didn't have any problems with the participant experience. So we developed this over the last, what, 2 years, 3 years. It's taken us a while. And it's super useful. But it's probably worth taking a step back and thinking, like, why is eye tracking important? It's kind of obvious to us at iSquare. We've been doing it for 25 years, but it's probably worth considering, like, really what's so important about it? Why do we even know? Why do we even need to know where people are looking? It's kind of accepted, I'd say. Kahneman's system 1 and system 2 approach is pretty much the common way of thinking about it. That humans have one system that reacts to things really quickly and makes a fast decision, and then a system 2, which is a little bit slower and needs more cognition to do. So we measure system 1 in market research with things like webcams and measure facial emotions or use galvanic skin response or implicit association tests. And we measure system 2 with a survey or an interview. But we think it's super important to understand what comes before that, what entered system 1, what entered system 2. And we think, well, it's important to understand what we call system 0, whether the person actually attended to something. So if this was visual stimuli, understanding what they saw. If it's auditory stimuli, did they hear it? We focus a lot on ads and packaging and things that people can see. So we think eye tracking is the best solution here for understanding what gets into the other two systems. So yeah, it's super important. And if you can understand what people are doing when they're at home or in their natural surroundings, it really does help to get even better data, which is why we developed this. So what can smartphone eye tracking achieve that was not possible before? Well, I guess it's a kind of obvious question, but most of us are now most of us are now using our smartphone device all the time. We take it everywhere and we're looking at it all the time. And if you don't understand what people are looking at on that phone, you don't really understand what's important to them. So we've seen, just a silly example here, in social media is basically the most important thing to all of us now. We're using it all the time. Using Instagram, we're using YouTube. It takes up, what's that, 50% of most of the ad spend now. Americans, particularly younger Americans, are spending 200 plus minutes a day on social media. We need to understand what they're looking at on those screens. And data from Google suggests 79% of all searches are on mobile. So you really, really need to understand gaze to the smartphone screen to understand what people really do. Thanks to our new tool, smartphone eye tracking, you can definitely do that. So what can you test with smartphone eye tracking? I guess the answer is anything that's shown on a mobile phone. But what's super useful to test? You can show, when you have been able to show for a while, full screen images or videos that you might show to somebody on a smartphone. We can test those, been able to test them for a while. Well, what's super interesting with the smartphone solution that we have is that we can test things like ads that are shown within a Instagram feed or YouTube videos or how people react to seeing a website for the first time, or whether they could find the buy button or the add to cart button. Anything you really want that's shown on the smartphone screen, we can track and give you accurate data about what people are going to do in the real world. And the great thing about our solution, it's super participant friendly. The panels love it that we work with. It's super easy for them. There's no downloads required of the participant. They simply open up their browser, take part in a survey, as they've been invited to do, give access to their selfie camera, grant consent. They've got complete control of whether they grant consent, and then see the stimuli, answer some questions in the survey, and get paid. It's really easy. As I said, no download required, works anywhere in the world. works with any smartphone camera that you want. Every selfie camera seems to be good enough. We haven't found any that aren't. Works with lots of different operating systems and can also be integrated with a webcam survey. If you want to do both, it's super easy to integrate into a survey. All your survey software needs to do is handle a redirect out to our webcam eye tracking software, and then we pass the participant back to the survey. Very easy. And thanks to loads and loads of research that we've done and development, we've got excellent precision. It's accurate to about the size of your fingernail, maybe a little bit bigger, but totally suitable for tracking most things that you want to understand on a smartphone screen. Okay, let me talk you through the process for the participants. So we get redirected, or they get redirected to our software. We make sure we get consent from them, give them complete control of where their data is, and if they don't want to take part, they don't have to. We ask them to turn on and give access to their selfie camera, and then make sure they're in a well-lit position, and then they do the calibration, which you might have seen from any other eye tracking before. So we get them to watch a number of dots in here. I think it's 15 dots, but we can be as low as 5 dots if we want. It depends what we need to do here. Once they've done that, we then make sure that everything's still well lit, they're in a good position, and we give them some instructions. In this instance, it's simply to go to Instagram and go through their feed and yeah, browse through and enjoy, really, which our participants are super happy to do. They get to see interesting content. Within that, and the participant isn't aware of this, we've normally inserted some ads and or some content from a creator, and we basically just show this without them knowing. They then come back to the survey, answer some questions about the experience, as you might normally expect, and then they get paid. Like, really easy. They love it. Our participants are happy. We don't get complaints. We don't ask anything of them. We're not tracking anything that they didn't want to give us access to or consent to. Things that we could do, like we do a lot of tests with shopping. So I'll give you an example here of Instagram, but we can actually send people shopping for a product on for products on Amazon or on Tesco's or any other website. We can send them to a home page or a landing page and see how they react to it, see what user flow there is. How many participants do we need? That's a super good question. We normally recommend that we have about 100 participants per version of the stimuli that we're testing. So if you've got two versions of an ad, that's 100 to see one version, 100 to see another version. The reason we do this is because, like webcam eye tracking, we don't actually have corneal reflection here. We actually simply using the webcam to understand the actual or the smartphone selfie camera to understand the location of the gaze. That means that not every participant is going to give us great gaze data, and we need to remove a percentage of the participants from our analysis so that we've got very accurate data. It's a very standard way of doing this. It's a bit of a numbers game, but what this means is that this tool isn't an ideal tool for very low sample UX studies. It's much more useful for quantitative uses where we have control of the stimuli, we're showing everybody the same thing or different things, different versions of the same thing, and understanding on aggregate how they all perform. I-Square, how long should we show the participants the stimuli we're testing? As a company, I-Square tend to want to show something as realistic a way as possible. So if people normally spend 10 minutes browsing on Instagram, we show them 10 minutes of Instagram with the ads or ads that we want inserted to make sure that it's a natural experience. If we wanted to have people shopping on Amazon, we send them shopping on Amazon, they buy it, add it to their cart and check out. Whatever time that takes is how long our task would normally be. If we're showing someone a pack, because we want to do some pack testing, some new product design tests, we might only show the pack image for 6 to 10 seconds if it's a simple pack image. If it's a more complicated pack image, something that people would naturally look at and study and try and get all the details from, we'll show it for longer. But we always try and keep the stimuli exposed for as long as it's natural. What do we get from smartphone eye tracking project? This is an interesting one, and it really does depend on what we're testing, the objectives of the research. One thing you would expect, heat maps. In all of our research, we can produce heat maps. So how many people looked at the ad? That could be a video heat map. In shopper research, how many people looked at the product images on the product detail page, where they looked on the page? For UX research, perhaps we're looking at how many people looked at the menu at the top or didn't notice something within the form that we're testing. Whatever it is, you can have a heat map to show it, but we can also have way more data. So in this example here, we were testing an ad on YouTube, and we are then been able to give you a heat map and also track the amount of people who are looking at the ad versus looking at the other stuff that's on the page when it's in view. So with this, we can give you an idea of where the ad is not working as well as it could do, and give you suggestions for improving the ad, which edits you might want to make so that you can actually have more people looking at it throughout and making sure that they do see the branding moments, which are important for them to take away the key messages. With the eye tracking software integrated with our in-context software, so the in-context software can track where the ad is on screen and give you an idea of how many people have it visible on screen, how many people clicked on it, how many of them actually played it with audio, if there's a video ad, for example. We can do all of that, but also now with eye tracking, we can tell you the percentage of people who were looking at the ad while it was on screen, how long they were looking at it, whether they revisited it, but also if we want, we can go into detail about which bits of the ad they notice, and do they notice the branding on screen. So that's a quick run through of the most important questions. Happy to answer any more, but also you feel free to try out yourself a quick demo that we've got. You should see once you've gone through the calibration process on your phone, I think it's a sports ad, maybe a Nike or an Adidas ad as a pre-roll, and then in the normal circumstances you'd be redirected back to the survey and continue and be asked some questions about it. But I think afterwards you're redirected back to our website. So yeah, thank you for that. Any questions? Anything come up?
Hey, Gareth, thank you, of course, first. And yes, I'm just struggling here with the Q&A bit. Yes, the question, a UX question. So in a way, you mentioned that this can be used in any of these environments, and can it also be used for UX study?
Yes, it can be used for UX studies, but in a quantitative way, I would say. As I said, it's not a perfect tool as we have it right now. And we've made this decision consciously because we didn't want to have an app that records the screen. We wanted to make sure it's super easy for panels to allow our participants to take part. So we didn't want to record the screen. So it's much more suitable as a tool for doing quantitative studies, so quant UX. So show 100 people a version of the website and understand where they look versus show one or two or whatever. I think it's 8, maybe 10 people I've seen in UX studies who would take part. So it can be useful, but it's definitely a quant-focused tool at the minute for us.
So not as much focused on these single replays. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going
There's
to
some,
stop sharing there and see if I can
yeah,
see. Yes, go on.
cool. There's
Cool.
some technical questions too. Like when you built this, kind of like trained it, like is that like always kind of continuing, or can people also, help train or be part of that?
Yeah, I guess so. We've trained it on a lot of data. We're definitely continually improving it. The version that you see in the demo, I don't even think is the most exact version, the most recent version. There is more recent ones. So
Mhm.
yeah, in terms of would we be interested in others helping us here? Yeah, I can't see why not. We're a collaborative company, so it sounds like something we'd be open to, happy to explore.
And Marco was asking the participants, our respondents, consumers, um, how much freedom do they have? Like, can they move their head around?
Yeah, within reason. That's what took us a while with developing this, giving the freedom of movement of the participants so they can move and then come back to being in front of it. Obviously, we need to see their eyes, and if they go too far away, then it's not easy to pick them up. But they're somewhat free to move their hands and eyes. The more stable they are, the more likely they are to be able to record their data and use their data in the analysis. But yeah, there's quite a lot of freedom of motion, to be honest. More than you might expect.
Mhm. The device question, I think you mentioned iOS or something. Which device or no, platforms, let me read, device operating systems does it actually work with?
It works Android and iOS, and it plays really well with Chrome on Android and Safari, as you saw from the demo, on iOS. It's not to say that we're not looking to support others, but we found that they're the most popular. And the reason we support them is that we want to have a large range of operating systems and browsers supported, but we also want to be able to release things quickly and not have to test on a million different browser versions. So we try and support the main ones and could support more if necessary.
So someone asks if what happens if I would open it in my desktop browser now?
Yeah, so the link I showed you wouldn't work in the desktop browser, but if we did want to run a project that had both webcam with the same stimuli, so let's just say we wanted to show a pack image and we wanted participants to take part on both a webcam with their desktop laptop and they could take part on a mobile device, we don't mind. We could allow both of those. There's a different link that the participant will be shown, redirected to within the survey for the webcam version. But in our analysis, we can bring that all back together and give you an idea of how everybody looks. So you could have 100 people take part who saw version A, and 60 of them could take part on a smartphone, 40 of them could have taken part on a desktop, and your analysis together would combine it, but would also take into account that if you wanted to analyze them separately, you could.
Well, Emily has a question. What type of research applications have been most successful using this technology? So ad testing, pack, or what is it best for?
Good question. So ad testing in terms of a video ad, we just want to see how people react to it. Definitely one of the most common that we're requested for. It now, particularly because we're known for our in-context testing software, a lot of people come in and asking us, and we're doing a lot of projects that where we show participants the ad within a news feed, Instagram, Reel, or whatever, and then also growing more pack tests. So showing the ad on a screen or within a e-commerce environment. So the pack image, but shown on an Amazon product detail page, and then people can go through the gallery images. So I guess they are the four we get most requested. I'm sure there's other areas that you could do it with, but that's the most requested and successful for us.
Sorry, there's so many questions, Gareth. Bruce is asking if you can track the clicks like of each responded simultaneously with the eye tracking. And the second question would be, can we run the study with a Figma prototype?
Tracking clicks, yeah. Within our software, we have set it up so that every click on anything that might be of interest is tracked. So definitely possible to do. We could also track clicks on an image that someone has we wanted to show. So it was just a full screen image of, let's say, I know a pack. People are asked to click which bits they like. Just in a recent project where that's possible. So all good, yeah, all possible. In terms of Figma prototype, we could test with the Figma prototype, but we also have some great software that makes those prototypes more interactive. And we can also track the clicks once we've made it more interactive. So that's our digital sandbox software. So yes to Figma, but probably we would take the Figma model and improve on it if we were going to test with it. It's just the way I Square work, trying to be as natural as possible.
So you import the prototype into the infrastructure. Okay, got it. And yeah, we have a developer student question. If a learning software engineer would like to contribute as a student, we'll get back to you via email then, that's fine. And all of you guys will get an email. And will you share the deck and the link again,
Yep.
Gareth? So,
Happy to
okay.
do that, yeah.
So you'll send an update, an email after the session. We'll do another session like this anyways. And please feel free then also to reach out to us for follow-up meetings or in-depth sessions. That's no problem. Let's just wait for a second if I missed any question here. Oh, I think that's it. And thank you so much, Gareth, for sending from the office. That was a nice view we have here. And then we're looking forward to more questions and more insights.
Cool.
All right. Take care, Gareth.
Thank
See you
you.
soon. Bye.